Telling you that you buy groceries all wrapped in plastic, but put them in your own cloth bag? And this saves the world? The Kate Dalley Show starts now.
If you knew who was really behind Bitcoin, you would run as fast as you could to sell it. 100%. And when the real founder of Bitcoin comes out, it is my humble opinion, and there's nothing humble about me, Bitcoin will go to zero. In the prospectus, when you invest, there should be, in the footnotes, if global warming is for real, they won't put it that way, global warming happens and water rises 10 feet, not one single investment prospectus written this century has alluded to global warming. The big money, the real money on the planet. I've been saying this for 15 years. You've seen the movies with Mel Gibson, Mad Max. That's where we're headed. Money doesn't mean anything. And I've got some really smart guys that I've known that have been buying up water rights around the world for 30 plus years. Water is the next crypto, the next gold. Well, he's not buying it for the land. He's buying water rights. Why are people so stupid?
You gotta love Dan Pena, the billionaire who just blurts everything out. There's a lot of truth in what he just said. So all those clips mashed together, wow. Anyway, welcome to the Kate Dalley Show on a Wednesday. So happy to have you. And I've got Melissa, Midwest Melissa is with me, and we've got a lot to talk about. The amendments, the MK Ultra, I mean, you name it, it's on the table today for sure. So Melissa, Midwest Melissa, how are you?
I'm fine for now.
I
have my phone on and I'm tracking the weather, which is, so, if you're going to have Midwest Melissa, you're going to get the full Midwestern treatment.
Okay, so talk to me about weather, just because we're getting weather in the bottom of Utah. So I know that all across the country, everybody's getting it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We got it Sunday. Mm-hmm. Lots of tornadoes in Indiana, which is unusual, but it isn't. Okay. And lots of other places as well. But today is more. This morning we had round one. Mm-hmm. At 5:30 in the morning it rolled in. And it included like torrential downpour and rain and incredible thunder and lightning and 3 rounds of hail. And then it kind of calmed down about 10 o'clock. And now we're going to get more this evening. And other parts of the Midwest, farther to the west of us, are getting it right now. So people in Memphis, people in Arkansas, Missouri, maybe upper Alabama need to be paying attention.
Mm-hmm. A lot of
it's
rain.
Just scary. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So true confession, Kate, here. I have a recurring nightmare about tornadoes at night because you can't see them.
Oh.
So I'm just hoping that doesn't happen here tonight. We're supposed to get it here about 8 o'clock tonight.
Oh, so. No wonder you're kind of on the edge of your seat. Okay. Well,
Oh, it doesn't take much.
I've never lived under tornado watches. So I grew up in California. I had earthquake watches, right? So everything was earthquake. And so I've never lived under tornado. So.
Well, a true Midwesterner will tell you that as soon as the sirens blow, we all go out to the front yard to see where it is.
Oh, okay.
Now, that's really dumb. You should be taking, that's the signal, like, take cover now, but that's not what
everybody wants to think that, maybe the alarms are off and that maybe it's not coming toward you. Something like that.
Well, and there's all kinds of video out there on YouTube and social media about people like, oh, look, there it is. Wow. Is it coming towards us or is it going another way?
Oh, I'm my gosh.
Don't be standing there looking at it.
Well, April showers bring May flowers. And they used to say that? Okay. Well.
And this is spring in the Midwest. So to be expected.
All righty. Okay. So it's Liberation Day. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Are you feeling liberated, Kate?
No, not really. I feel like we're under a delusion of brainwashing is what I feel like all the time. I'm trying to break through that for people. So,
well, we're supposed to all be celebrating because egg prices are down. And they're even down here. And I'm like, well, that's what happens when you quit killing all the chickens.
Jeez.
Doesn't take rocket science to figure that one.
Don't even get me going on that. Okay, so let's start off with something light. Let's talk MK Ultra.
Oh yeah. Well, Well,
oh dear.
Okay, I owe this story. I owe this story to my son, who is a Kanye West follower.
Okay.
And Kanye just put a new song out just in the last week, and we were talking about it. And then Candace Owens, who is a personal friend of Kanye West, did a thing on her show yesterday that I thought was very provocative and very interesting. So she's been implicated in another lawsuit involving him, which we will not discuss. That's a whole other issue. But she was talking about what happened to Kanye West. And those that know anything about him know that right now his behavior is very erratic. He's been in a mental health facility, and he's just not the same guy as he was back in 2016.
Right.
And so in 2016, right after the election, at a concert, Kanye stopped the concert and began talking to the crowd about how he was sorry that Google had lied to them, that they and told them that Hillary was going to win, and it was all just a pack of lies. And, you know, it caused quite a bit of commotion at the concert, right? And then he went on to talk about Trump, and he voted for Trump, and he's a supporter, and MAGA, blah, blah, blah. Well, the next day, he was at the residence of his personal fitness trainer, a guy named Harvey Pasternak. And according to Pasternak, Kanye had a break, a mental break, and ambulance was called, and Kanye was taken to a mental health facility.
It's been said that a lot of the health trainers that spend a lot of time with the stars are actually intelligence handlers. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. Because they seem to have these. I'll
decide if Harvey Pasternak is one of them.
Okay.
Because Pasternak has an interesting background. He used to be in the Canadian military, where he did now Pasternak now is known for being like a big time, you know, health and fitness guy. He's written a couple books. Maybe there's a book he's had that's kind of well known called 5 Factor Fitness. And but he worked for the Canadian military, and in particular, he's spoken about this publicly. What his job was in the Canadian military was testing drugs for performance enhancement. Okay, well, that doesn't sound so wacky for
unless it's code for something else. But go ahead.
Well, yeah, we know how that goes.
Go ahead.
Well, if you begin to look at Pasternak's background, he was the personal fitness trainer to Britney Spears, another mental health kind of girl.
Yeah.
He was a trainer for, what's her name? Let me get her name here before we go there. A bunch of people. Brittany Murphy. Now, Brittany Murphy, I had to look her up. She was in Clueless and a bunch of other movies.
Oh, yeah, Brittany Murphy. She was offed. Sorry. Died.
Yeah. Well, he was her personal trainer. And she died.
And her husband.
Anemia. Right. She had pneumonia that was complicated by iron deficiency.
That's what they said.
Like, who's ever heard of that one? Yeah. And her husband died like 6 months later.
Yeah.
He was a trainer with a guy named Mac Miller and another person named Aaron Carter. So hold on to Aaron Carter for a minute.
Okay.
Because we'll come back to his story here in a second. In any event, West, when he got out of the mental health place, began talking about, they did something to me. And who believes a guy who's crazy, right?
Yeah, right.
And that's what everybody says about him.
Right.
He's erratic. My son even said, you know, this is not the same guy that we used to know. Yeah. He's different now.
Right.
To the point that there's a big conspiracy theory that it's not even the same guy.
Right. Because they look quite a bit different. The features are totally different. I've seen this. Yeah.
Well, Kanye, or Ye now, has continued to talk about it. And fairly recently, he posted the receipts about it. And nobody, of course, nobody in the media wants to even look at it or talk about it or nothing. But here's what Ye posted a picture of a text exchange between him and Harley Pasternak, in which Pasternak said West had better stop saying crazy stuff and he'd better get back on script or else he would be severely punished. And then he went on, this is a quote from that text. Second option, if you don't shut up, I'll have you institutionalized again, where they medicate the crap out of you and you go back to zombie land forever. Play dates with the kids just won't be the same.
Wow. And who said these comments?
Harvey Pasternak, the trainer. Now, does that sound like a personal fitness trainer to you?
No, it doesn't.
That sounds like a handler to me.
Yeah, me too. And I've heard this. I've really heard this. And see, I didn't know what Melissa was going to be talking about Kanye West. I have heard these things that the trainers are assigned by contract when they contract with media, and that they don't really get a say in them, and that these people are hired for them, and so they are their handlers. I've heard this. It's so crazy.
Well, do you remember? I told you to remember Aaron Carter.
Yes.
After Ye posted that, Aaron Carter tweeted back to Ye and said, "Hey, yo, Kanye, let's talk man to man."
Ooh.
And the next day he was dead.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. Well,
now let's, he's been the trainer. He was the trainer, this Harvey Pasternak, trainer to Britney Spears, who also has had mental health problems. Who
doesn't look like the same girl. Anyway, just throwing that out there.
He's also been, all these other people, Brittany Murphy. He is the trainer to nearly every A-lister in Hollywood. Yeah. Everybody from Lady Gaga and Katy Perry.
For being a health trainer, he's not doing real well on the clients that have died suddenly or perished after saying things. I mean, people really ought to look at that and kind of clue in that probably isn't what we think it is. No, I love that you're talking about this. I don't think we've ever outed the trainers on this show. So I'm actually really glad.
We've been talking about look for the pattern.
Yeah, look for the pattern. You're right. You're exactly right. It's great. I'm glad you brought this up. Be right back. More with Midwest Melissa. Be right back, and then followed by Susan. Be right back. Kate Dalley Show.
I hear every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Make you stupid with curriculums at school, and if the classroom doesn't do the trick, we'll make you watch the news. Make
Ooh.
right or left, take the red pill or the blue. You can vote, but even
all right, be right back. So, yeah, we'll be right back with more of this. Just kidding. So welcome back. This is Tom McDonald, actually, and he sings about a lot of truth, which is crazy, but you don't hear him getting a lot of awards anymore. Anyway, that was Tom McDonald. So welcome back to the show. And I've got Midwest Melissa on with me. Make sure and go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Kate. And you can pick up ivermectin, Z-Paks, antibiotics, fenbenzanol, which you take with ivermectin to get rid of parasites, all kinds of different things that they have there if you need them. And they come right to your door. You don't have to find a doctor, in other words, to get you refills. These are doctor scripts that are sent to your door. allfamilypharmacy.com/Kate. Use the code Kate10, the number 10, you'll get a discount. By the way, he mentioned the red pill. The Matrix. The Matrix was actually written by 2 transgender females. They're twins. They both are transgender. I didn't know if anyone realized that, but anyway, very, very odd. Okay, so welcome back to the Weirdness on Wednesday show, and talking about these.
Thank you so much for that,
right? Because we've never actually. I don't think we've actually. I can't talk today. Actually, talked about the handlers being hired by the music corps and the media corps that provides those for their new stars, quote unquote. So I think you're right on the money in that they're handlers. I've heard this as well. I didn't know what Melissa was going to be talking about today. So it's big because we both stumbled onto that. That's crazy.
Well, if you recall, over the last couple of weeks, we talked about Hollywood Babylon and how decadent and out of control Hollywood was in the teens and 20s.
Right.
And then we've talked about Manson and the MK Ultra connection there. And I think if you look at Manson, how controlled was he? And it makes me wonder whether he was made to look insane too.
I think he was on their LSD program. He was on their LSD program. Well, and
it doesn't take much to identify a borderline kind of unstable, potentially person and then destroy them.
Right.
So let's go back to Jack Ruby and Jolly West. Jolly West was the doctor that came to see Jack Ruby in the prison after he was arrested for killing Oswald.
Okay.
And he diagnosed Jack Ruby as schizophrenic and having mental illness. But people that knew Jack Ruby, although he was maybe unstable, he had never been diagnosed as schizophrenic. Jolly West, same guy who flies to California and sets up shop at the Berkeley Free Clinic, where Manson and his family are. And one of the things that Jolly West said back in the 60s was that they had a cocktail of drugs that could make anyone crazy. That they could, how do you even want to put it? They could make people lose their memory. They could just scramble their brains in any direction that they chose. Now, the real question for me every day is, what makes me think that MK Ultra ever stopped? Now, we know they destroyed all the records when they got found out. But in the same way that parasites will kind of burrow deeper when they think they're going to be found, I think that's what happened to MK Ultra.
Right.
It's not called that anymore. It's called something else. And it just went deeper and underground. But it's still there. They still have handlers. Jolly West for sure was a handler.
Right.
And there are still handlers. They don't look the same as they did in the 60s, but the game is the same.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So, I mean, they start to speak out, and even that girl Disney star, I can't remember her name, and she's a hot mess now and doesn't even look the same. I can't remember. Amanda Bynes. And there's just so many that went nuts or just died suddenly. And I just think there's a lot more there that if we really realized, I think we'd be horrified. It's kind of like Dan Pena, the billionaire, coming in going, if you knew who owned Bitcoin, and he says he knows 100% who owns it, you would drop it like a hotcake right now, and you would never, ever want to invest in it again. So kind of crazy. I mean, there's warnings out there if we're willing to listen. But we'll be right back. Right after the break, more with Midwest Melissa when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
Well, hello, everybody. It's Annie Cyrus. Welcome to my art studio where all the magic happens. This is the station for painting, and that is the station for all the resin art I do. If you want to check out my art, all you gotta do is go to lutfstudio.com. For this, I hope I'll see you at lutfstudio.com.
Oh, yeah. How true. Welcome back. Little sticks for you. You're listening to the Kate Dalley Show. I've got Midwest Melissa on. It's a Wednesday. And this Thursday and Friday, we might be having Sean Spicer. Remember him? And, of course, Warren Farrell, who has not been on the show for a while. He does a lot of, he has amazing books on men and women and men as fathers and the things that are so important about dads and fathers, which we'd love to talk about on the show as well. And so he'll be coming on Friday. All right, I've got Midwest Melissa, and I also wanted you to know to go to Cozy Earth because Mother's Day is going to get here sooner than you think because, it gets busy, right, in the spring. Order up now while they've got all the different sizes of those luxury sheets, the ones I keep telling you about that are bamboo and viscose. And every time I have company, they go, now, where are those sheets? Where can I get them? So that tells you something, right? They are insane. They're insane. They're amazing. They're luxury. And you can get 40% off using the code Kate. CozyEarth.com. Take advantage of it and get it for Mother's Day. Also, their lounge sets. Can't go wrong on those because they're amazing. Mine washes so perfectly, and I've had it, I think, for 7 years now, at least. So, all right, Midwest Melissa, let's keep going.
Okay, well, change of subject here. Okay. And this was sent to me by a listener, and I think it's fascinating.
Okay.
It's an article about the original 13th Amendment.
Okay.
So right now, the 13th Amendment to the Constitution has to do with slavery and the abolition of slavery in the United States. But apparently, the original 13th Amendment was something that was called the Titles of Nobility Amendment. Or the Titles of Nobility Emoluments Clause.
Okay.
Which has to do with the prohibiting of anyone in the United States having a title of nobility. So, not a big, I was like, okay, the Constitution already stipulates that, right? And it does in two different places. Says you can't be a citizen and have a title of nobility, despite what Meghan Markle wants you to think. But what is the most common title of nobility in the world? It's a trick question.
What?
Esquire, which is given to attorneys when they pass the bar.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
So what does bar, like the Bar Association, what does the bar mean? And I just looked it up this afternoon.
Okay.
British Accreditation Registry. Why do American lawyers have to go through the British Accreditation Registry in order to be an attorney here?
I don't know. What?
Well, that's what the 13th Amendment was supposed to stop. That you don't have title, because what does a title of nobility give you? It gives you special dispensation so that the rules and laws don't entirely apply to you. So let's say you're in Congress, you don't have to have Obamacare for all the people in your staff, even though everybody else does.
Right.
You get special privileges. You get a special retirement fund, not just Social Security. You get special exemptions. You get special this and special that. It's an aristocratic title.
Right.
How do you about that? I think that's fascinating.
Well, I remember looking at the AG in Illinois, and the page of the AG, if you went to the website, it was all about how the Attorney General in Illinois swore their loyalty to the crown, and it was all about the crown. And I did a show probably like 7 or 8 years ago on that, and how we don't realize how a lot of this comes right down from ye old England, and that it hasn't changed, and that there was so much more to what you're saying. Like what you're saying is so right on, because it was that we don't want to recognize, I guess, I'm having a hard time saying it. We don't want to recognize that it's an allegiance to the crown. that we take, right? In these positions.
In 1789 and in 1810, this Titles of Nobility Amendment was proposed, in which citizenship would be stripped from anyone who held a title from any other country. And it was passed by 12 of the 17 states at that time.
Okay.
So where did it go? Why isn't it there now? It was passed into law.
Yeah.
It was officially a thing, and it was even published by the states in their copies of the Constitution. But somehow or other, if you recall, Abraham Lincoln, he did not have to pass any kind of bar exam in order to be a lawyer. So why is it that we have gatekeepers now that have an affiliation with the British legal system?
Okay. And
they have titles of nobility that give them all kinds of exemptions. And it's, like I said, it's a gateway. Now that if you're a lawyer and you pass the bar, it is the gateway into all kinds of public service.
Okay.
How many of the last Democratic presidents have been attorneys?
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Is this what makes Trump an outlier? He doesn't play the game. Apparently, the founding fathers, even though all these stipulations are written into the body of the Constitution itself, they found it important enough. 1789 is the year that the Constitution was drafted, that they felt that there needed to be an amendment to stipulate no titles of nobility. What the heck are they talking about?
Yeah.
I find this to be fascinating.
I just don't know if Trump's an outlier. I don't know that you could be president twice in this country and still be an outlier. Do you think?
Well, isn't it curious that he's talking about having the U.S. join the Commonwealth?
Yeah. Okay. Curious for sure.
I find that to be very odd. That is not making America first.
Yeah.
That's not, that's kind of not MAGA.
Right.
But that is a kind of an allegiance to the king.
Yeah. And also just immediately talking about Greenland and absorbing the countries next to us into regions. That isn't America first. That's region first. And people need to understand that it dilutes the Constitution. It doesn't spread the Constitution to these other countries. So there are some things that people should be shaking their head at and going, now, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't square, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So sometime after the Civil War, the 13th Amendment in its current form, or in its previous form, in that early form, was just quietly dropped. It was never repealed. It was never taken off the books. There was never a vote. The states never repealed it. It just disappeared.
Yeah.
And that's a very curious story. And it was replaced by the 13th Amendment about slavery.
Right.
So as we look at our legislative system, we have three branches of government, right? We have legislative, judicial, and executive. Why is it that both the judicial and the legislative are dominated by lawyers? Can't we just let the lawyers go run the judicial system?
Right.
Why do they need to have control of both judicial and legislative? And I don't think the founders ever intended that. The founders wanted people from all walks of life. The Congress was meant, especially the House of Representatives, was meant to be a reflection of the people of the country. There should be some farmers there, and there should be some doctors there, and there should be some tradespeople there, and there should be some people from every walk of life in the House of Representatives. How many of those kinds of people are there, really?
Okay, we're going to come right back. Kate Dalley Show. Very intriguing. Midwest, Melissa. Kate Dalley Show. KateDalleyRadio.com. Support all the sponsors. Be right back.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. You know, I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets.
I'm interrupting this commercial to do something I've never done before. Get 2 MyPillows absolutely free on orders of $100 or more. I can't do this forever, so get on board with this great sale today. Our best-selling 6-piece bath towel sets or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Our famous standard My Pillows only $14.98. Queens $18.98. King size only $1 more. Body pillows $29.98. Multi-use My Pillow 2.0s with pillowcase $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bed sheet sets. Any size, any color. So go to mypillow.com or call that number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all My Pillow products. And when you spend $100 or more, get 2 standard My Pillows absolutely free.
And just like the guy whose feet are too big for his bed.
That's for you, Melissa. Sorry to make light of your weather. I don't live under your kind of hail that you're getting today, or the tornado watches, or anything like it. So I have to have some fun with it. Sorry about that. And so I'm not making light of it.
We're used to it. Hey, for us here in the Midwest, any notice from anybody else, when you live in flyover country, you take what you can get.
Oh gosh. So I also wanted to mention there's a new product that remineralizes your teeth. And I know a lot of people out there have been looking for something that's really good to throw on those teeth to actually remineralize them. So as you get older, your teeth kind of fall apart, right? Everybody can nod their head yes on that one. Okay. So this is a great product to take and can fill in cavities. It can do an awful lot to strengthen those teeth and rebuild that enamel. When the dentists say that you can't do that, think again. Anyway, remineralization. So that product is on the sponsor section. Just go to KateDalleyRadio.com. There's going to be the dentist that actually designed that product is coming on the show in a few weeks. But I wanted to make sure that you saw that because it's a fantastic product. You need to try this. You're going to see a lot of success with your teeth, and it actually naturally whitens them as well. So it's kind of cool. Anyway, go check it out on the sponsor side of the page. Just scroll down to the bottom where the podcasts are on KateDalleyRadio.com. Okay, Midwest Melissa.
Okay, so why should we even care about a law that just disappeared a long time ago? And the reason we should care is because if this law were in full effect, then the people in the legislative side of the House would have to obey all the same laws that we do. That could be a powerful game changer. They could not make exemptions and carve-outs for themselves that don't apply, just for them.
Sure.
And that's important. The Thomas Jefferson, I think this is a brilliant quote. He said, "It's not the function of the government to keep citizens from falling into crime. Into error. It's the function of the citizen to keep the government from falling into error." I couldn't agree more. Thomas Jefferson, my hero.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So if we could raise this issue again, there's 2 researchers that have spent years, like almost 10 years, looking at what happened to this legislation, and they can't find any place where it was ever repealed. So I wonder what would happen if somebody kind of held their feet to the fire. But we should care about this.
Yeah.
We absolutely should, because we are the citizens. It is our job to hold the government accountable.
Right.
We've talked about this endlessly.
Yes. Interesting.
But that a lot of the legislators have it the other way around, but don't aristocrats always have it the other way around? Aristocrats always think it's their job,
right,
to take from the peasants and give them back whatever they think we deserve.
Yeah.
But that has never been the American way.
Well, anyone in government, I've noticed locally, I have this problem with a lot of local people close to me who I'm sorry to say, I hate to say this because it's going to sound like I'm really judgy, and I kind of am in this way. But I've never met so many morons in all my life. But they really do think that they're part of a club and they get to know everything. And then us peasants we're the morons. And it's interesting when I get to these people, what they believe and what they don't know and what they aren't willing to investigate. And talk about the MK Ultra indoctrinated politician. I've got them in my area. And it's really, and not to say they're all MK Ultra. I'm just talking about that mindset of being brainwashed into thinking that they are part of a club that rules over the peasants. And all I have to do is point to how many local officials, local elected officials in your area all across the land did hand washing videos for you as if you didn't know how to do that. Even people with extremely low IQ know how to wash their hands. But that's what they did to try to implement we are so smart that we need to take care of you. We're your mommy and daddy now, and we're gonna try to school you in how to wash your hands in the year 2020. And I saw this, and I just I just had zero respect for any of them at that point. It was like, oh my gosh, you guys are the biggest morons I've ever seen in my life, because they felt like they had to do that for us because they think of themselves as those aristocrats. It's amazing to watch in America.
I have some appreciation for Kanye West. It took drugs and a mental hospital to do it to him. Some of these people just do it on their own because they just want to be that.
And they get picked by the parties because the parties are the tribes. And if the more kind of idiotic you are, then the party bolsters you up because they'll be able to say anything to you as an elected official, and you'll spew out what they say to spew out, and you won't even think about it. So it'll make zero common sense to everybody else, the people that are paying attention. But it is amazing we are the elite view of themselves inside that club. I see it with the sheriff's department. I see it with local officials, commissioners, mayors. I mean, it's bizarre when you get to know them. They're not the brightest. Okay, they're not the best French fry in the pack, we'll say. Okay. Not the brightest. So kind of amazing. Woo.
Do French fries travel in a pack?
I
didn't know that. I need a politician to answer that question for me quickly.
Quick, we need a TV expert or local politician to answer. Oh gosh.
I'm not kidding.
Scary. Not bright people. Yeah. Ooh.
It is an aristocratic viewpoint.
Yeah.
I wish we could start just calling them, what they are.
Yes. Yeah.
Because the people that I'm not really that worried about. Well, I do actually worry about King Charles. But for other reasons.
Right.
We should be worried about people that have an aristocratic view here that is so un-American.
Yes.
And we are becoming those people.
Well, it's funny because there was a CIA guy that spoke out years ago, and he said, you're in this club and they keep telling you that they have the inside scoop. Therefore, you're, as an elected official, you're getting the inside scoop, right? And so you do think you're the expert, and then you think the people are numbskulls. And actually, it's just the gullibility of those elected officials that shines, because they actually do believe anything they're told when it's inside a small group that say they're the experts. They'll believe anything. And then they'll look at everyone else and go, you guys don't really know. I know. But actually, they're the idiots. They're the morons. It's weird. It's a weird club.
I guess in every aristocracy, there are cascading levels of stupidity.
Yes.
Just like Fauci knew a lot of things.
Yes.
But by the time that got to my local health department, it was lockstep with whatever he was told to do.
Yeah. Your worst offenders are the editors of news. They actually do think that they're smarter than everybody, and those are some of the people that I found to be the most gullible in America. They're so gullible, they'll believe any leftist mantra, any AP mantra, and go with it 100% and act like they're the smartest guy in the room. It is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. So there's that too. It's bizarre. Woo! All right, Melissa, thank you. Midwest Melissa's awesome. That was a great hour. And be right back with Susan. Don't go anywhere. KateDalleyRadio.com.
I hear every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Now,
don't use sunscreens. Still, millions of people use sunscreens, so somebody's not listening. They even slather sunscreen on their children. In May of 2019, the FDA issued a report saying that sunscreen chemicals, when used just one day, penetrated the bloodstream, reaching levels that exceeded FDA standards. One ingredient, oxybenzone, reached that level, exceeding the standards after only 2 hours of use. This is not good. These chemicals change your complex metabolic machinery, they put a load on your liver and your kidneys, and they make you sick. The more sunscreen we use, the more skin cancer we get. Do you suppose there may be a cause and effect relationship? The sales of sunscreens have gone up by 38 times in the last 30 years. Meanwhile, the incidence of the most dangerous kind of skin cancer, melanoma, has doubled since 1982.
I think there's a cause and effect. I know I did research on this, and I could not believe how the numbers correlated. It was bizarre. So think twice this spring and summer about what you're doing to your skin before you go out in the sun, please. And no, it has nothing to do with this hour. So I just wanted to make sure and play it because there's a lot of people that are starting to kind of get geared up for spring and summer. And I think that message needs to be heard loud and clear. And whenever the medical establishment is dead set on telling you a certain thing, kind of like how the dentists were dead set on fluoride, the medical establishment is dead set on sunscreen. You probably ought to look under that hood and maybe do more investigation instead of just believing the white coats and saying that whatever they say is in your best interest. Because when I did the homework on that, and believe me, I spent a lot of time because I've had skin cancers removed, right? Is that it is particularly interesting when you look at how the numbers went up when we used to farm in the fields for centuries without skin cancer. Skin cancer went up when we started putting on and slathering on the sunscreen. Very interesting. We worked in fields, you guys. 95% farming in this country. We're not having skin cancer. And now all of a sudden we have it since really the 70s. Amazing. Okay. All right. Susan is with me, Susan Reeve, and glad to spend this hour with you, Susan. Let's start with Wisconsin. And how are you?
Hey, I'm doing so good today.
Excellent.
I'm glad you brought up working in the fields because we're going to talk about Wisconsin. And my grandparents owned a farm my great-grandparents owned a farm in Wisconsin.
Wow.
So something happened in Wisconsin yesterday, and that was that Susan Crawford won the Supreme Court seat over Brad Schimmel. And this was a big deal. Musk was there. He was giving away $1 million a day, and she still won. So this maintains the liberal majority on the court 4-3. And the reason this is important for conservatives to understand is because in 2023, after 15 years of conservative majority, the liberals flipped it. And so all of a sudden now you have a liberal court. And so they're going to rule on things or make decisions on things that are more liberal. This happened. I had to find out, why did this happen? Because Wisconsin, is a mixed bag. The city's, again, heavily Democratic. But there was an abortion issue percolating in the background. They love to use this as a motivating fear factor when they run races, the Democrats do. So the Wisconsin Supreme Court was poised to rule on a critical case involving an 1849 law that could effectively ban abortion. Seriously, this is how they flogged the public to vote for the liberal. Meanwhile, they said her opponent, he had been a prosecutor, attorney general, didn't keep up with the rape kits. And his point was, hey, some of those cases were so old, we couldn't have found the witnesses and people to prosecute the cases. So, you know, they really did a number. But listen to this. This race became the most expensive judicial election in U.S. history, was spending nearly $100 million.
Wow.
So there's a lot of money that poured in, including from Donald Trump, but also George Soros and J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois. So this, when you see things like this happen, it's important to understand the background and the dynamics. And we see these patterns repeating, don't we?
Right, right. Interesting. Okay.
Yes. So that's what happened. People were wondering, why did this happen? Is it because Trump is unpopular? No, there was an underlying issue with abortion.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. And then they also voted to have ID to vote.
Yes, in the legislature. Yeah. So today, after the election for Supreme Court, they voted
to have ID.
That very suspicious timing, actually.
Yeah, very suspicious. Afterwards. Okay. Well, at least they did. At least I can't imagine that this is like a victory when this should be what happens always. I mean, to have ID to vote, I mean, that should be something that's a given.
If you're advocating for no ID, we know what side you are on, and it's not the side of the United States, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, just like having a flag, waving a flag in your front yard is supposed to denote that somehow you're MAGA. No, you're just an American citizen that loves the country, and you have a flag and you say, I respect this flag. But it's amazing how now it's an indicator of what party you're in. I mean, could anything be more visual? I think that's amazing. Like that we're at that place.
It's become very tribal, and the flag shouldn't be tribal. It should be tribal for the whole United States, right?
Yes, like an American citizen thing. Not that you are a conservative, but just an American citizen. But there are people that hate the sight of a flag. They hate America that much. I mean, it is kind of crazy. Jeez.
Yeah. So that's what happened in Wisconsin. For people who want to know, I thought it was really important.
Right.
But I wanted to talk mostly about today about the Tesla attacks. If you watch X, you see dozens and dozens of Tesla attacks on the cars, on the showrooms, and you have to wonder. It's not always some blue-haired, weird-looking person. A lot of times, it's just a normal-looking person, and you think to yourself, "Well, what could have possessed them?" And there was actually somebody caught someone in the act, and Mike commented on this video because they're asking this person, and finally he's just saying, "Well, I didn't intend to do it." He carved a swastika, and then he said, "I didn't intend to do it." And Mike Lee said something like, "Wow, that's pretty hard not to do, if you're not intending to carve a swastika." But something to that, actually. There's something to that.
Okay.
They did study. So there's an article, excellent, by Brandon Morse. There's real psychology behind the Tesla attacks, and it doesn't paint leftists well. That's his article. This particular guy looks like an upper middle class guy, and so it's surprising, like what is really motivating them. But there was a 2014 study, and it was done to see if people on the left actually allow their emotions to guide their decision making. And what do you think about?
That's all that guides their decision making. I've never seen an ounce of logic, not one time.
It's astonishing, but it said their reactions were more emotionally driven. And so the report said across different conflicts, emotions, conflict-related contexts, and even population, leftist policy supports change in accordance with the emotional reaction more than people on the right.
Yeah.
So given that, the left knows their audience, right?
Right.
So they've been whipping up the fear of government being smaller, I guess. People losing their jobs, I guess.
Right.
And now the honey of the left, Elon Musk and his Teslas, is now being scapegoated. So there is something we had talked about before, a philosopher, Rene Girard, who looked at history and said, when there's all this internal conflict because people are being competitive, so you left.
Right.
What are they being competitive about?
Yeah.
They want power, right?
Yes.
They see the power slipping from them. They see Donald Trump ascendant. So now they're panicked, and so now they have to find a scapegoat.
Right.
They have determined Elon Musk is worse than Hitler.
Right.
It used to be Trump. Now it's Elon Musk. Musk actually said that he's getting 17,000, that he's gotten 17,000 death threats. And I don't think he's exaggerating. That is probably true. Insane. So
I think it's part of the theater. I think when I say theater, it's a real thing that's going on, but I think it's managed, and I think it's manipulative to keep this kind of weird fodder and right in front of us, right? So that's what we focus on.
Yes, it's 100%. Because this kind of drama, if it doesn't have a target, it would be us against them, and they would be attacking all of us.
Well, leftists are pretty gullible people, so they can be very managed, and they can be told what to be upset about. And so that's kind of an easy, low-hanging fruit thing. And so the people that paraded around and said Elon Musk is our guy are now completely turned on him and destroying their own vehicles that they used to celebrate. And so it's complete insanity, but that's how easily led they are. It's how easily provoked they are by emotion. So that it's all emotion and zero logic, which I wish there was some logic to it. It would be more fun, actually, but it's all emotion. And sometimes on the right, we can be that way too, right?
We can, but we saw this with masks,
but not as much as the leftists. Yeah.
Correct. And we saw this with COVID and masks.
It's kind of like the non-logical stance of seeing families separated by COVID, but standing there and demanding that families be separated because of the COVID rules, but then not applying the rules to illegal aliens coming to the country, or people being separated because they say it's legal for them to be here, but it's not really legal. It's actually illegal, but they're turning it into a legal stance, even though it's a courtesy of the United States to take them on a visa or what have you. It's kind of like the same thing. They can't apply the rules there, but they could apply them during COVID, is what you're saying. So with the masks and everything else. I'll be right back. More with Susan Reeve on the Kate Dalley Show, KateDalleyRadio.com.
Well, hello, everybody. It's Annie Cyrus. Welcome to my art studio where all the magic happens. This is the station for painting, and that is the station for all the resin art I do. If you want to check out my art, all you gotta do is go to lutfstudio.com. But I'm sure, or at least I hope, I'll see you at lutfstudio.com.
For me, something you call love, but confess you've been a messin' where you shouldn't have been a messin', and now someone else is getting all your best.
All right, little Nancy for you. Welcome back, Kate Dalley Show, KateDalleyRadio.com. I'm so glad you're with us today on a Wednesday. You're probably getting some weather wherever you are, and so maybe you're hunkering down under a blanket and can listen to the show whatever. I'm just happy you are. And also listening in your car, too. We are live radio, and then it's put onto a podcast, and you can go listen to that on katedalleyradio.com or on Rumble. You can catch the show visually. It's taped. And also on xamericanews.com and also on X, which is X America News. So go there, follow that. And they've got quite a few shows as well as mine. So go to X America News and follow them on Facebook as well. The other thing is, I just wanted to mention the flag guy, because I was talking about flags. You can get the most beautiful flag and flagpole. And these are like, you can get regular, you can get like a muted gold. You can also get one for your truck, your car, your RV, if you're an RVer, okay? And these are the most beautiful. They're so pretty. It's like a muted gold. I can't even tell you how gorgeous. They also have the kneeling version, like kneeling to God, okay? Not the kneeling from the NFL. No. Kneeling to God. And I do love that as well. And so you can go to northpoleflagpoles.com and they'll ship that off to you with a kit for your RV or a kit for your truck, car. And this is, I love the sight of a flag. I think they are absolutely gorgeous. Nothing gets me like that. It's just beautiful. And I think emotion is correct when you're looking at a flag. Leftists, on the other hand, look at everything emotionally. I don't think conservatives are that emotional. I think that we just have a reverence for things like the flag, which I think it should be, as it should be. So go to northpoleflagpoles.com and order up. You're going to love me for this one. This guy is in my area. He's fantastic. Get one for your business as well. All right. So, okay, Susan, back here with you. Let's keep talking about Tesla.
Talk just a minute. Well, there was the one vandal, we're talking about vandalizing Teslas, put gum on the handle of a Tesla and got arrested for a felony because the handle is worth $2,500 to replace, and anything over $1,000 in damage is a felony.
Wow.
So people, you would think because they have cameras on the cars that they're starting to figure this out, but they're not. They're still being driven by emotion, and vandalism provides power. People who feel powerless, that gives them like this euphoria to commit vandalism.
It's like a petulant child. I mean, a child doesn't get what they want, so they go and they hit to get what they want. This is why emotion people led by emotion. This is why it can be so bad, is because they'll do anything to get their way. It's like it's just this emotional response that is very immature. They can't. Yeah,
immature, but this gives them a sense of euphoria and happiness. And so if they don't get held accountable for it, they will repeat it, and other people will too. And that's why the Justice Department is saying, this is terrorism. But what they're doing on the left is trying to use Elon Musk. And, the next part of that is that in the Bible, you finally find out, Jesus, who was targeted as a scapegoat, he was innocent. That's what we're supposed to learn, that the scapegoats that we tend to focus on are usually innocent, and we've got other issues. They have big issues, these people, and the Democrats. Their Democrats in Congress have something like a 21% approval rating. I mean, it is 50-year historic.
They're the equivalent of a cockroach. I mean, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. You're in Congress. Most all of them are, save maybe one, or all cockroaches. But it's interesting, this whole domestic terrorist thing. And I had that conversation with Pesta, Dr. Duke Pesta too, and he didn't actually agree with me, but I'm telling you, the whole domestic terrorist thing is a setup, and it's a setup for us, the conservatives actually. And what they're trying to do is segue it into a terrorist attack. It is not a terrorist attack. They're trying to get us to the point where we're all subservient to the Patriot Act, where you can basically, in the NDAA, where you can basically put somebody in prison. They do not get due process because they're deemed a domestic terrorist, and it's so wrong on every level. We should be fighting this in every state and federally, just because of the fact that they're trying so hard to get this adapted into law in every way. And right now it's not as much as they want it to be. And so they keep saying that, and I think this is a big setup to get us into the domestic terrorist nailed down as a legal charge to erase our due process, which we are constitutionally supposed to be guaranteed by our government. Be right back. That's why it's theater. Be right back. Kate Dalley Show.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. You know, I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets.
I'm interrupting this commercial to do something I've never done before. Get 2 MyPillows absolutely free on orders of $100 or more. I can't do this forever, so get on board with this great sale today. Our best-selling 6-piece bath towel sets or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Our famous standard MyPillows only $14.98. Queens $18.98. King size only $1 more. Body pillows $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color. So go to MyPillow.com or call that number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And when you spend $100 or more, get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Think, let your mind go, let yourself be free. Let's go back, let's go way on, way back when. I didn't even know you couldn't have been too much more than 10.
All right, welcome back. Kate Dalley Show, a little Aretha for you. And by the way, I mean, think twice about that whole domestic terrorism charge. They want us to cheer it on for the Teslas because it's a paid for thing, right? These people are being paid. And so they want us to, it's theater going on right in front of us. They want us to cheer it on, but wait till it bites us in the rear end again. And it did for J6. They tried to put the domestic terrorist label on everybody so that they would not get due process. You'd never want to go without your due process, ever, 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 ever cheer that on. Don't ever cheer that on. Domestic terrorism label is a trap in the judicial system. It's an illegal charge right now, and it should be an illegal charge. They actually have to charge you with other stuff when they say that, because it's not as legal as we think it is. They just announced it in the Patriot Act and the NDAA, but and the NDAA, but it's not legal, so they have to buoy it up with other charges. Just remember that. You never want to ask for domestic terrorism on anything in this country because it will come back to bite you too. Let's take a quick caller, and then I've got Susan on too. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, Kate. Yeah,
yes.
You're right on the money on this. And I'm glad. I was trying to call in last week when Dr. Pesta was on there, and you guys brought up the subject. But this is exactly true. And the same with hate crimes.
Yes.
Enough of this crap.
Yes.
We need to completely eliminate that term.
Yep.
You know, a crime is a crime.
Yeah.
Murder is murder. Rape is rape. Robbery is robbery.
Yeah.
Stop with putting the prefix in front of that term.
Amen.
Trying to make it something other than it is.
Amen, brother. I'm totally with you. Thanks. So great call. Great call. So murder is hate and vandalism. I mean, they're all hate. You don't have to add the word hate to make it something more, right? So that's what he's saying. And I love that he's saying that. We have to be very careful what we cheer on in this world of theater right now. Okay, Susan, back here with you. I'm here with Susan Reeve, and let's talk about Texas for a moment, shall we?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's go from Teslas to toddlers. There was a
it's not a hard leap, but go ahead. Go ahead.
There was a natal conference in Texas, and there were about 200 pro-natalists. And people are thinking, what are pro-natalists? Well, it's a movement. This was the second annual conference, and it brings together two separate strands, two separate ideologies that believe we should be having more children. So, of course, we know about Elon Musk, that he's got, I think we're up to 14 children now.
14, 50, what's the difference? Yes, he's got a lot of, he's out there procreating.
Yeah, it's just like having, a harem and all the kids.
Yeah.
So so there's the tech right that says we have to make sure that the United States has enough children. But there's the Christian conservatives. And this is what's interesting, is that they're trying to make peace in this area that they overlap, which is the value of children. But people on the tech side, it's more of a commodity, and people are concerned about that. We think on the Christian right that children have an inherent worth and that they're unique souls. And people on the left are testing for intelligence. There's one couple that's kind of like become iconic, and they're having a bunch of kids. And the woman actually used to work for Peter Thiel, which is pretty interesting. But she says, yes, we test all our embryos for intelligence. I didn't know that was actually a thing.
Oh my God.
But the Christian right is not doing that. In general, it collects this group of people, and then people say, well, I don't like his politics over there. But this is where they overlap. And so I don't see how we can be responsible for everybody's values who happens to
they like to play God. They think they can too, because they think they're smarter than everybody else, and they think government's the God and God doesn't exist and they can play God too. And this is why they, like you said, perusing the babies to be for intelligence quotient. It's like a very weird, in their minds, they're bigger than God.
Yeah, it's a very futuristic kind of techie thing. But what's interesting about this movement is that they see a political edge to it. And for example, in January, the new U.S. Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, who has, I think, 9 children, circulated a memo instructing his department to, quote, give preference to communities with marriage and birth rates that are higher than the national average.
Right.
Which is interesting, that they're going to get more money and resources because they have higher marriage rates.
Right.
And then they talk about J.D. Vance. So here, J.D. Vance, I think he just had a generic Christian upbringing, but then he became Catholic. And now he is quite vocally pro-life, and he comes from a long history of pro-family thinking and policymaking. He said, recent interview, we actually think God made male and female for a purpose, and we want you guys, meaning the younger generation, to thrive as young men and young women, and we're going to help you with our public policy to make it possible to do it. And I started to understand as I read through this that there are a lot of things that make it hard for modern families and young families to have children. I'm sure you've noticed it's hard. You don't have your mom living across the street, the grandma.
Yes.
You don't have
separated.
Yeah. They make it difficult for families to exist on just one income. It is possible. And I know people who do it. And I did it when we were raising 7 children, but it is extremely difficult. And they're saying, you know what, we need to do more on the government side to make it, remove the obstacles.
Right.
I do agree with that. I don't like it seeing it co-opted as a political movement. I always get a little worried about that.
Right.
But isn't it interesting that these two movements are colliding? The tech, futuristic, bionic embryos, and the Christian right. And the Christian right, bless their hearts. I mean, they really put heart and soul into it, and homeschool a lot. So that movement is legitimate, but the big concern is the up and coming generation, the 20-somethings, the Gen Zs, trying to have kids saying, we want more than we have, that we can't afford it. We can't make it work.
Right.
How to make it work. I think that is a legitimate question.
Well, it's interesting, the ideological views that vary on babies, babies and God. It's a wild one for sure.
Yes, because you end up getting supremacist ideology a little bit in some corners. I mean, that is so rare.
Right.
But there was an author who wrote a book, Timothy Carney. His book is Family Unfriendly, How Our Culture Made Raising Kids Much Harder Than It Needs to Be. And he comes up with some solutions. And so I thought, the rest of us raise our kids and move on.
Right.
But we need to really be sympathetic to the struggle and encouraging, right?
Yep. I agree. Yeah. I mean, for sure. So.
I'm just saying I do my best to babysit. I babysit a grandson, and the neighborhood is empty. Like, where's everybody? They're at work, and kids are in daycare, and they feel compelled to have to do that. So it's tough. That modern society is not easy. So while Elon Musk is doing the futuristic stuff, hopefully he'll have enough clout to make it easy for average people.
Yeah.
So I would like to see that. And Trump is behind that. Trump has said, yeah, let's do it. Let's make it easier.
Yeah.
So, yay, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And really it should be us saying, you know, that the people need to lead out in this. The people constantly need to lead out. We don't need somebody telling us or leading us into what our views on families on either side of the aisle. We need to understand God a little bit more in this country. We need to understand our role as parents, grandparents, and uncles and aunts and things like that. We need to protect that family unit and be part of it. I can't imagine not having that in my life. Be right back. Kate Dalley Show, more with Susan Reeve. Be right back.
I hear every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Found out, he began to shout and started the investigation. It's against the law.
All right, welcome back, Kate Dalley Show. So glad to have you on the show. Sean Spicer, interesting character, and he'll be joining the show. Also, Warren Farrell. If you guys remember, I had Warren Farrell on the show, and he talked about the importance of men in as fathers in kids' lives, and he also talks about men and women. And so, fascinating author. He used to be a hardcore lib, and then he decided that was only going into violence. So he woke up and he decided that he would just more or less concentrate on women and men and boys and how they were not benefiting from the women's liberation movement. He's an interesting guy, and so I really like Warren. So Warren will be joining me on Friday. So welcome back. I've got Susan with me. Make sure and go to xamericanews.com where you can check out the show. And also FIQsupplements.com is where I get my supplements, and because they have the quality ingredients that actually absorb into the body. And that's important to me. I know it's important to you, because who likes to take supplements? Nobody. But I'm telling you that these ones work, and you'll see the difference. You'll feel the difference. So FIQsupplements.com, they have a histamine that's amazing for allergies. Okay, Susan, back here with you. All right, let's finish out the show today. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's talk about the lovely First Lady, Melania Trump, who has basically disappeared from the news because the media won't cover her in the mainstream news. But she was giving an award. This is the 5th year. It's the State Department's International Women of Courage Award. And the reason I was drawn to this story is there were 8 honorees, and she focused on love. So people who do a lot of this type of work in their countries, they are doing it out of love. They're not government employees. She said their love is a powerful catalyst for their work to fight injustice and advocate for women and girls.
Okay.
And these women are motivated to rise up in their community and when others remain indifferent. And this power, this force of love is so powerful in our society. There's so many good volunteers. And people say, well, we need to have government come in and do X, Y, Z. No, there are people who love and are willing to do this kind of work. She talked about their exceptional courage, strength, and leadership. Again, not being paid to do this. And one of the women, do you remember decades ago, the Romanian orphanages under Ceausescu were horrible, right? They were like hell on. Well, those still exist. So one of the recipients is a Romanian, Georgiana Pascu, and she randomly goes into facilities and literally rescues helpless people. She said these children are bound, sedated, starving, and in some cases dying. And Melania just said, this love, this is what she said: throughout my life, I have harnessed the power of love as a source of strength during challenging times. Love has inspired me to embrace forgiveness, nurture empathy, and exhibit bravery in the face of unforeseen obstacles. When you consider the path that the left is on and what the foundational values of a healthy society are, it is love. It is this commitment to fostering just goodness and health. And the left could do it too. If they were so panicked about the reductions in government, why don't they do something positive?
Well, government's their God. They don't want to see anything go. They want.
Exactly my point. This is literally the opposite message, that it is individuals working in society through love.
I think it's love and morals, though, don't you? I mean, so a lot of people on the left, when they're talking about the LGBT movement, it's love is love and love and love and love, 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 until you want to just puke, because it's all about love. But love and morals is I think, what Christians are trying to put out there too, and that you actually have to stand for something. And when you love God first, all the other love falls into place. So you love God, and then everything falls into place under that moral umbrella as well. And how important it is to understand love in that context, instead of just love is love, right? So that's probably what you're referring to.
Right. Yes, exactly. And that's what she's referring to. And really, by their fruits you will know them. And that's what all these beautiful women did, and really risking their lives in many cases in these really barbaric countries. Women are treated quite barbarically. We forget how some countries treat women. We ignore it. So I was just so inspired by her message and thought, this is the basis of our society. This kind of effort, and we can do more.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think, I was reading about that, the gay couple that Christian Services gave them a child, the service called All God's Children, and they were both sentenced to 100 years because of such heinous activity and violence against these two special needs boys that they got to adopt as that company. Yeah. What is it? Zolit, or I can't remember the last name, ZU something. Anyway, Zolik, and how they both got sent to prison, and their whole thing was love is love is love. And yeah, they were heinous. They were evil. There's just not even words to describe the amount of evil done to those boys. And so, by them, and peddling them off to pedophiles. And so, you look at the love is love message, and it's horrific until you describe it if you can put love into a moral context, just like liberty. We go freedom. Well, liberty is freedom with morals, and same thing with love. We have to always make sure that we keep it in the right context of what it's supposed to be. And I think that's important. And I think Melania is talking about the love for each other in human mankind, which I love. I like that. I think that she's right about that. I think that the message has gotten skewed by leftists under this umbrella that love is love and nothing else matters. And it's like, no, everything matters. And love needs to be in the proper context of understanding. Yeah.
Talking about service to humanity, and about people being personally motivated to take it upon themselves to do that. And I think that really is the highest motivation, to really help the poor, the dying, the sick, and anything we can do in our community, including raising our own children, of course.
Yes.
But I just thought, what a lovely person. And the left hates her, and she's lovely. Yes.
Well, it's so true. And people put love, and especially leftists that demand more government, want the government to love you more. So they don't love themselves. Oh no, it's not about them putting themselves out there. It's about they want government to love you more, quote unquote, which they don't. And so it's all about love for more government. And I just, it's hard to understand. It's hard to understand their emotional response, like a 2-year-old to everything. It's hard for me to understand when they start talking about love of government, like government's the God. It's
attachment.
Yes. Very, very weird. Glad you're pointing it out. Susan Reeve, thank you. And of course, I'll be back tomorrow. Join me tomorrow, KateDalleyRadio.com. Join me live tomorrow. And of course, be faithful, be fearless, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Go to KateDalleyRadio.com and visit the sponsors. Support the show. It's a twofer. You get to support the show while you're buying from these sponsors. And I love that. Thank you for supporting this show, supporting free speech. And I'll be